we just have a few minutes before we go to that. We have a few minutes to take any questions from the audience, which based on the past couple days, maybe not so many, but the past panel did elicit a few questions. So if anyone has a question immediately, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, I have a few questions, of course, prepared. And I know that, Rob, you went a little over in time, but you have a lot more to say, I know this. So is there anything in particular you wanted to cover off that you got cut off with?
No, the only thing I'd say is that I think it's incumbent upon us as we build these classifiers to really understand the issues of discrimination and ensuring that we're actually accurately reflecting the needs and wants and unmet needs of these communities in a way that makes sense. Because we use 3 independent humans, we use domain specialists and others to help build these classifiers, but based on who you are as a person and your life experiences, you're going to actually translate these classifiers differently. You're going to code these classifiers differently, and that could lead to things like discrimination down the road. And I think we as an industry have to really step it up to make sure that we're doing this in an effective way. That's
great. Laurence, you talked a bit about the different cloud environments, and I think there could be a question out in the audience about, am I far enough along with AI-enabled products and capabilities, and how do I know I have the right cloud environment? And maybe you could talk a little bit more about the Google, AWS versus Azure type of decisioning that you've traveled through on your journey.
Yeah. So at Dentsu, we're using different cloud platforms. So we have a hybrid cloud environment. We are using GCP, but also AWS and Azure in some markets. For this project, the reason why we have decided to use GCP is because the barrier to entry are really low, comparing to AWS, where it's much more complex and you need to do a lot of training to be able to start playing around with the tool. Google has made it possible for non-technical people to actually build technical products. And that's the reason why we have decided to use GCP.
Thank you. A theme of today, which we've all heard, is about data quality, data integrity. And this is a question for both of you, as we think about in the context of accelerating the application of AI-enabled capabilities, can you just comment a bit about the importance of good data infrastructure, good data fundamentals, good people to handle the data, and just the governance elements that are necessary?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's essentially everything. I mean, we've shown in the case studies we showed here that there's one in particular that Professor Wendy Bowen at the University of Maryland showed that she used social data to predict brand health. But when she first took just general sentiment, she found no correlation between the two. But when she got to very high relevancy in the data set using machine learning and were able to focus on product and product attributes, she got to a 0.80 correlation in the data. So there is actually great predictive capabilities within social and voice of customer data if it's properly modeled, but all based on high quality data, which can only be driven through machine learning and artificial intelligence given the complexity of human language.
So yeah, on the Dentsu side, obviously the way we organize data was really key, because if you want to build products that every single market and brand can roll out, we needed to make sure that the way each market has organized their database was actually similar across our different markets. In terms of legal-wise, we have a GDPR global team, which we're working with, and we've put together this system to make sure that we can identify if there is a data breach, and we are also working to have this big data catalog so we know exactly what data we are storing, how we are processing the data, what kind of data are we talking about, what the data sources. So that's really, really key.
Any questions from out there? Yep, you see one. Here we go.
Kelly, it's a question for you.
Thank you.
Yep. And Google will return a search listing, several search listings. If you try Siri, she will take you to normally geolocated services and search listings. But if you go to Alexa, Alexa will default to Amazon products for sale. And there is inherent bias in the results for these services, and they are very commercially driven. Are you aware of any movement within the advertising community to remove the first-party bias from the results?
I'm not personally aware of any industry initiative, but it sounds like one that would be interesting to talk more about. I mean, we all know the dynamics that are real in our industry today, so I'd be happy to follow up on that again and go back into the qual or quant that we have to look and see if it came up in any of the feedback from consumers directly. Thanks. Any other questions or comments? Good. We're almost at time, so I think we went a little over before, so we can close unless there's any final comments that either of you want to make.
Just thanks for everybody staying, and I know everybody's looking forward to having a beer and some drinks tonight, so we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, again, thank you very much. Take care. And congrats.